Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today I'm on the Nimbus T8.
Now, this boat was designed to be a yacht tender, but there are so many features that make this a family-friendly boat, we need to go over all of them. So join me as I do a full features inspection and performance evaluation. We'll start here in the cockpit area where this seating area / lounge brings out most of the functionality. It's 60 inches across in the forward-facing position. We can also have it in the aft-facing position or fully down into the sunbed position. Underneath the seat, there's a 12-volt refrigerated drawer, and just ahead, there's a teak table with a satin finish, and I like that there are integrated beverage holders just ahead. Now, as an additional treat, we can turn these two seats around to have them join the table. Now, this is a bag used for storage. It actually unsnaps and gives us access underneath to our hot water heater, our water tanks, water hoses, bilge pumps, and steering pump. To the side, hot and cold freshwater shower. Underneath the seat, there's a hatch that lifts to reveal storage, and over on the port hand side, there's an electrical panel that includes the battery switches, the crossover switches, gauge for the water tank, and a gauge for the diesel fuel for the Webasto heater and hot water heater. Now, we've already seen some of the quality fit and finish that this brand is known for with the teak table and its satin finish, but it also continues here. I mean, look at this hatch. Support strut, gasketed all the way around, and notice the channels to allow the water to drain away and keep it out of the compartment. The deck itself, standard decking is the white non-skid fiberglass. Here, our test boat has the optional flexi teak. Now, just behind, we've got a ski tow bar, much more sturdy and solid than the ski tow pylons we typically see. Plus, it makes a great thing to hang on to as you're coming out of the 3-step reboarding ladder over to the starboard side swim platform.
To the port hand side, there's a stern anchor, which is not only extremely popular in Scandinavia, where people drop this anchor as they're heading into a pier and then tie the bow off and step ashore, but also here in the US, where it becomes an easy way to deploy dual anchors as we pull up to sandbars or beaches, or even when rafting up to other boats in social settings.
And then I'm sitting on a compartment that's used for storage, in this case fender storage. To the opposite side it's repeated, but it also includes the shore power. We've also got full walk-around capability to the engine. You can go for 200, 250, or 300 horsepower. Just ahead, there's a step that's got a hatch over it, and that is used to store the propane bottle for the optional gas grill that goes just to the left side of the helm. To the sides of this seat, there's 12 inches of space. Between the seat and the bulwarks that come up 28 inches, the rails top out at 31 inches, far and away exceeding ABYC standards. Now, overhead, standard is no roof. Here we have the optional hardtop that's 6 feet 5 inches off the deck. As you get to the helm, there's a step down, so even though the roof angles a bit downward, we still have 6 feet 6 inches behind the helm, and there are smoked plexiglass windows across the roof. There are tracks all the way around for accommodating a zipper right here, so we can enclose this whole area, and there are brackets in the deck to secure it to the deck. The hardtop also includes LED lighting plus heavy-duty supports that also double as convenient grab rails. There's another rail that's an option on the trailing edge of the hardtop, and that can also be used to accommodate the optional rocket launcher style rod holders. As we continue forward, the side decks have the same 12-inch space that we saw back at the seating area. Bulwarks at this point, 15 inches, and the rails will top out at 20 inches. We come up an 11-inch step. There's a 10.5-inch midship cleat, and that's one of 3 cleats to each side. Across the top of the hardtop, there's a full-length grab rail, and that brings us forward to the bow area. Forward, there's a lounge seat just ahead of the console. We can put an optional cushion here that will bring it from 24 inches to 54 inches right up to this spot. I can also lift up the front, and this gives us access right into the forward berth, making it incredibly easy to load things that you bring aboard into the cabin. Fully forward, there's an 11-inch raised platform, flexi teak across the top. There's a hatch in the middle that will lead to an optional windlass with a through-the-stem anchor roller. 2 brackets just ahead will be for an optional bow reboarding ladder.
Scandinavians will use this wide bow space from which to step off onto the dock, or even lay down a boarding plank.
Taking a look at the helm, it starts with a 12-inch Simrad display. There's a vessel view display over to the left-hand side, but all of that can, of course, be repeated onto the Simrad display. There's a zip weight controller just below. Electrical switches are to the left-hand side, and a small cubby includes connectivity. Throttle is over to the right-hand side. The steering wheel is mounted to a tilt base. Now here's something I like, a remote control for the standard bow thruster, standard on all Nimbus models by the way, and then a remote for the bow and stern windlasses. There's also a power switch for the windlass and the thrusters right alongside, plus a rocker switch for the thrusters. Fusion stereo is way underneath over to the left-hand side. I'm wondering why it's not in this position right here. And additionally, there's also two switches that are not here that I would like to see here. One of them is for the windshield defroster, and the other one is for the LED lights just overhead. That said, if you had a VHF, it would go in this position, and you can also run the audio system from the Simrad display, so no points taken for having the stereo out of vision here. I also like that the switches are lighted when activated, and when you hit the nav light, all of the panel lights up. We also have a wiper on-off, intermittent wipers, and a washer. The wipers, by the way, are standard on this boat. Ahead of the console, there are beverage holders, a couple of cubbies for putting in stuff, and a compass. Below the console, the captain gets a molded-in footrest. The observer gets a flip-down footrest. The captain and observer seats lift to give you access to a service compartment. We access the cabin through a smoked sliding door that gives us an opening of 17 inches. Now, right in this position where I am, I've got sitting headroom of 2 feet 9 inches. That drops down to 2 feet 2 inches and then drops again to 1 foot 2 inch. The berth, 76 inches from front to back. Now, a couple of things we've got right in this area as well. There's an optional sink just over to the port-hand side. Without this and the counter space, it's just an open bin that gives us additional storage that we can drop items into. In this position where it is right now, with this optional sink, we have a storage door to the side. To the starboard side, there's a head compartment, and that has a standard sink.
Now, local conditions prevented us from getting our own test numbers, but the team at Nimbus has done plenty of testing on this model, and here's what they report. The Nimbus T8 has a length overall of 26 feet 2 inches, a beam of 8 feet 4 inches, and a draft of 3 feet 2 inches. With a single Merc 300 turning a 19-pitch prop and run up to 5980 RPM, the T8 speed topped out at 46 knots. Best cruise was reached at 4,000 RPM and 26.1 knots. It was at that speed that the 9.9 gallon per hour fuel burn worked out to be 2.6 nautical miles per gallon and a range of 150.1 nautical miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's 63.4 gallon total fuel capacity.
Now, when talking about the operational aspects of this boat, we have to remember the purpose of the boat. It's a tender and a family cruiser. It's most comfortable at cruising speeds. That way she goes right through the waves, she slices cleanly through them, she has time to penetrate those waves and work through the waves. If you push this boat and get it up to her top speed, then she's going to be opposing the waves and hitting hard. You don't want that, and it's not that kind of a boat, and it's not that kind of a cruise. So slow things down, take it easy, keep it at your cruise speed, and everybody will be comfortable on board. She's got nice turning characteristics. The wheel, 1, 2, 3, 4.5 turns, 4.5 turns from lock to lock, so she's very responsive to the helm. I like that the controls are the new Mercury binnacle controls, so you push it forward to get it in gear, and then there's a bit of a throw to bring it up to speed, so it doesn't start getting into speed right away as soon as you get that idle detent. I kind of like that. There's a little bit of space in there. In my opinion, there's an awful lot to like about the T8, but mostly its ability to transition seamlessly from a yacht tender to a functional family cruiser. And that's my full features inspection and performance evaluation of the T8 from Nimbus. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.